Hello and welcome to Microsoft Hates Greg. My name is Greg Deckler, and today we are going to be talking about the fact that apparently Microsoft Fabric is so bad that people are actually resigning or considering resigning their jobs if they're forced to actually use it. So let me show you this. This is a from a Reddit thread, and I don't spend a lot of time on Reddit, to be honest. But this came up. Somebody referenced this in LinkedIn. And it just, I was reading through it and I'm like, man, dude, I called all of this a year ago. Not that that was some genius feat or anything, but everything that's being said in this thread, right? Over a year ago, I was talking about, you know, look, it's just a licensing bundle. That's all Fabric is. It just bundles Power BI and Synapse. So if you thought Synapse was garbage, Fabric's garbage, right? And that's all but Microsoft's going to use that to go to executive leadership and say, hey, you've bundled this thing together, right? You already have your Power BI premium. Now you should use Fabric because you're paying for the same thing twice. You're using Databricks or Snowflake. You're paying for Fabric. You're paying for Databricks. You're paying for Snowflake. Just use Fabric, right? That was always the sales strategy. It was always the entire reason Fabric existed, right? Was to bundle those two products together and try to kind of ride the coattails of Power BI, right? And also I predicted that, hey, I did that in my at scale blog articles. If you go back to my YouTube channel, go through the Fabric playlist, just listen to like the first um first 3 or 4 videos in the Fabric playlist. I lay it all out, right? And I lay out how garbage it is. It's a bad idea all across the board. And so here's an actual real world, and this took a lot longer to happen, honestly, than we're rolling up on almost 2 years now, since Fabric was announced and kind of released. And, here's a real world use case where somebody was using Databricks and Snowflake. They had a very mature data environment, right? And now the Microsoft swooped in and said, hey, execs, you guys are paying for the same thing twice. So you should just use Fabric. And you know what? We'll pay for the migration, right? From your data assets from Databricks and Snowflakes to Fabric, right? We'll pay for it. Well, as this thing lays out, I'll link this in the description of this video, but essentially, they've already burned through all the Microsoft money because the way Microsoft money works, if you're not familiar with this, is they don't try to estimate how much money it's going to take you to actually migrate stuff from vendor B to Microsoft, right? Or from what you have currently to Microsoft. What they do is they estimate how much revenue that you're going to generate, in the next, X years, 3 or 4 years or whatever. They then take a percentage of that, right? So let's say that, they expect in the next 3 years you're gonna generate $10 million for the for Microsoft. Well, they'll take a percentage like 10% and say, hey, here's $1 million, migrate your stuff. Now, that has no relationship on how long it might actually take you to migrate your data assets and how much money it would take you to migrate your data assets from Databricks and Snowflake to Microsoft Fabric. It's just a number that's a percentage of your expected how valuable that you're going to be once you're on Fabric. That is all it is, people. So the execs that bought into this are morons. And might say, oh, Greg, they're not morons. They're probably just smart in business and this and that, and they're just not, up on IT. No, they're morons. Okay. And you know how I know they're morons? Because Microsoft came to them and gave them a deal that was too good to be true. Hey, you'll save a boatload of money, we'll pay for your migration, and you'll just save money and, Bob's your uncle. Any executive worth their salt would be thinking, wow, that seems too good to be true. And guess what? Anything that sounds too good to be true, it's too good to be true. Okay, that's the way it works. If you have any amount of common sense or any amount of just not being a total moron, right? Then you understand that, hey, something sounds too good to be true. It is, right? And you also don't fall into the sunk cost fallacy trap, right? So they burn through their budget migration. They're still migrating. It's basically because like we're not even going to break even for 6 years due to the cost of the migration. I laid all this out. I said all of this on my YouTube channel. I said it in my at scale blogs, right? There's no way that the ROI for Fabric is ever going to approach the migration costs, right? It's just not going to for like a decade. And so it's a stupid idea to try to migrate your stuff. If you have a mature platform on Databricks or Snowflake or both or whatever it is, right? That's a godsend. There's not a lot of companies. It's a small fraction of the companies that are out there that actually have a mature data environment built on modern data platforms that actually produce business value for the businesses. If you are one of those companies that has that, thank your lucky stars, right? And don't mess with it. Don't, if it's not broken, don't go meddling with it. It's high risk. It's a high risk thing. If we all, like as data professionals, if we all really believe that data is the new oil, you can drive your company out of business doing this kind of nonsense, right? I mean, or allow your competitors to catch up to you and surpass you, because they're making good data decisions based on data, and you're locked into this fabric that doesn't work. And so it's totally destroyed all the business value from your data, right? It's high risk proposition to do that, right? So all of these channels that are sitting there hyping fabric and oh my God, fabric and this and that, right? It's all just hype and nonsense. It's not real world. This is real world, people. This is what the real world looks like. Okay. And this thread goes on for forever, right? It goes on for forever. So they didn't listen to you, but I think one of my favorite parts in this is this thread right here. So it's like many such cases. I went to give Fabric a second chance by doing applied skills accreditation. Spark and the semantic model crashed so much I couldn't complete the final assessment. Useless. Right? It goes on from here. It's like, hey, it's the biggest issue for me. If you already have a higher SKU, Power BI could be a good deal, right? That's the argument, right? But if it's buggy and crappy, it's better to have it on-prem versus up there because you can actually fix your bugs, right? Versus waiting weeks or months for Microsoft to fix their bugs. Um, so some of our low-code users migrated from Microsoft Synapse to Microsoft Fabric. It was a downgrade to be sure. Microsoft's Fabric is simply no good, right? They open source product and slapped the brand on it and blah blah blah, and they made it worse, right? Where's this? And then he goes on to about where is it? Oh yeah, he's talking about HD Insight and that sort of thing. Basically, that he prefer Databricks and HD Insight over, over Fabric. Somebody down here is like, that's a damning statement that you even prefer HD Insight over Fabric. Yeah, wow. I used Synapse for some time ago. I can't believe they made it worse. Dear God, right? But they did. It's all true. This is this. And let me show you how long this thread goes on for. It keeps going, right? I mean, and this isn't all the expanded or whatever. It just keeps going as far as how many, people commenting on this thing and that. So, but this is the reality, people, versus all these MVPs and other people out there that are just, oh my God, Fabric's great and all the positivity and stuff like that. Here's how I'll give you a trick, all right, on how if the YouTube channel that you're watching is actually legitimate, knows what they're talking about, or is simply for entertainment purposes. Okay, here's the thing. If the thumbnails for videos on a YouTube channel look like they're thumbnails for a Mr. Beast video, like, hey, oh, that kind of crap, that is a channel built for entertainment. Okay, you're not going to achieve any useful knowledge, IT knowledge, or real world knowledge out of that channel. Okay, that's how you know. Right? So that's my little tip from me to you on, don't believe this stupid hype around Fabric. We're 2 years in on this thing now, right? We're 2 years in, and it's still not any better. And there's no foreseeable future in which it gets better. I just don't see it right now. So this is real world, people. People would rather resign than use Fabric. That's how bad Fabric is. Like, that's a sad statement, man. So anyway, that's all I had for this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.